welcome to Medical Dialogues, your daily dose of health and medical news. I am Dr. Nandita Mohan and let's look at today's top headlines. Delhi High Court slams NMC, allows Gujarat Medical College to participate in NEET PG counselling round for 9 PG courses. Slamming the National Medical Commission body, Medical Assessment Rating Board (MARB) for issuing disapproval letters to Dr. M.K. Shah Medical College and Research Centre for PG seats in 11 disciplines. The single-judge bench of Delhi High Court opined that the Medical Assessment Rating Board should be able to justify its decisions of rejecting applications. In fact, the bench, comprising of Justice Rekha Pali, opined in its judgment that Medical Assessment Rating Board cannot overrule the assessor's inspection reports merely on the suspicion. Slamming MARB, the bench noted, while the MARB is undeniably competent to take such a decision as per the regulations, and there is no requirement for the MARB to set out all reasons in the impugned orders. However, in my considered view, being an authority entrusted with an important task of regulating medical education in India, it is expected to at least prima facie show some justification for its decisions when the impugned orders are assailed before the court. The High Court bench was considering a plea by Dr. M.K. Shah Medical College and Research Centre, which got nod from Centre for MBBS course in 2017. However, back in 2020, when the institute submitted applications before the Union Government to admit students in 13 PG disciplines, the Medical Assessment Rating Board of the National Medical Commission carried out inspections for only 2 of the disciplines, that is MD Pathology and MD Microbiology. Consequently, the institute was issued letter of disapproval for the rest of the 11 disciplines. The grounds for disapproval included lack of valid essentiality certificate and the fact that existing PG courses in the institute were yet to be recognized. The High Court bench found merit in the petitioner plea that both the grounds of rejection, that is the requirement of an essentiality certificate, and non-recognition of PG disciplines were erroneous. The counsel for the institute submitted before the bench that the institute fulfilled all infrastructural, clinical and faculty requirements in terms of the criteria laid down by the regulations, and therefore it was entitled to be granted permission for commencing all the PG disciplines and for increasing the number of seats as sought in their applications. Apart from this, the counsel for the institute also pointed out the fact that due to being declared a COVID-dedicated hospital in 2020, the institute was forced to serve a majority of its beds for COVID patients, which resulted in a sizable decrease of patients in its other departments. At an earlier stage of the hearing, the MARB had informed the court that the reason for issuing the disapproval letters was the fact that there was lack of essentiality certificate on the part of the institute. However, later, the counsel for the MARB claimed that the decision taken by the MARB issuing the disapproval letters for all the 9 PG disciplines were necessitated on account of noticeable inconsistencies recorded in the report. Slamming the MARB, the bench mentioned in the order and quote, "In my view, when every institute is entitled to an opportunity to explain the deficiency found in the inspection report, there is no reason as to why a similar opportunity ought not to have been given to the petitioner to explain the so-called suspicious circumstances noted by the MARB from the inspection reports, which were otherwise in order. Moreover, there is also no explanation given by the respondent as to why, if suspicious circumstances were indeed found to exist in the information provided by the petitioner, was permission granted for even those 3 seats in obstetrics department. The seats cannot be granted without offering any justification as to how the MARB arrived at these specific number of seats, especially when the numbers are neither in compliance with the reports nor with its own communications. Taking note of the fact that none of the impugned orders are sustainable, the bench noted, and quote, "In the present case, it evidently emerges that it is not as if the experts who had inspected the petitioner institute had found any deficiency with the petitioner institute, but it is the MARB which has chosen to ignore those reports and form its own arbitrary conclusions without giving any opportunity to the petitioner to explain the so-called deficiency or suspicious information. In these circumstances, when the action of the respondent appears to be wholly arbitrary and not in consonance with the regulations, in light of the fact that the Petitioner Institute has all the requisite infrastructure and clinical material, or also the fact that it has worked as a COVID-dedicated hospital for a longer period, I am of the view that remanding the matter back to the respondent for consideration at this stage, when the only hope of the petitioner is to participate in the remaining rounds of the counselling in the NEET 2021-2022, including the mock-up counselling round and the stray counselling round, would be highly unfair not only to the petitioner but also to the prospective students, especially in a country like ours, which is already struggling to provide the number of medical professionals required for meeting the growing needs of the general public. Referring to this, the bench pronounced, keeping in view that as per the inspection reports, no deficiency was found either in the infrastructure or the clinical material of the Petitioner Institute, this court, instead of remanding the matter back to the respondents for issuance of a fresh order, is inclined to direct the respondents to forthwith issue the letters of permission to the Petitioner Institute to commence the courses in MD Respiratory Medicine, MD Dermatology and Venereology and Leprosy, MS Orthopedics, and to increase the seats in MD General Medicine, MS General Surgery, MS Obstetrics and Gynecology, MD Pediatrics, MD Psychiatry and MD Radiodiagnosis as per the petitioner's applications. However, in the peculiar facts of this case, when the Petitioner Institute has already missed the first two rounds of counselling of the NEET 2021-2022, and any further delay at this stage would prevent it from participating even in the remaining rounds of counselling, the petitioner is granted permission to participate in the remaining rounds for counselling for the seats as prayed for by them in all the 9 PG disciplines. That's all for today. Stay safe.
Never miss a medical update from Medical Dialogues. Like, subscribe, and press the bell icon.